In the dead of night on April 14, 1912, a ship sailed confidently across the icy waters of the North Atlantic, a marvel of human engineering. The RMS Titanic, the largest and most luxurious vessel ever built, carried over 2,200 souls, wealthy magnates, families, and immigrants seeking a new life in America. Its builders had proudly declared it unsinkable. Yet within hours, the Titanic would become the scene of one of the deadliest maritime disasters in history, a tragedy that would shock the world and haunt the ocean forever. On April 10, 1912, the Titanic left Southampton, England, bound for New York City. She was the pride of the White Star Line, a floating palace brimming with opulence, grand staircases, a heated swimming pool, electric lights, and luxurious cabins. Passengers marveled at her grandeur, mingling in the first-class dining rooms or walking along the expansive deck. Yet not everyone aboard shared the same fortune. In third class, immigrants crowded into small cabins, dreaming of a better future in a land across the ocean. Captain Edward John Smith, a seasoned mariner known as the millionaire's captain, was at the helm. For him, this journey would be his last. He had planned to retire after the Titanic's maiden voyage. Officers and crew prepared for a smooth crossing, unaware that history was about to unfold in the cold darkness ahead. By the afternoon of April 14, the Titanic had received multiple ice warnings from nearby ships. Messages arrived via Marconi wireless operators, cautioning of large ice fields in the North Atlantic. Some of these warnings were dismissed or left unread in the busy ship's office. The Titanic, confident in her speed and strength, pressed onward, cutting through the frigid waters at nearly 22 knots. As night fell, the calm sea gave no hint of the disaster to come. The stars sparkled above, and the wind whispered across the decks. Passengers retired to their cabins or lounges, completely unaware that the iceberg that would seal their fate lay just ahead. At 11:40 p.m., lookouts Frederick Fleet and Reginald Lee spotted a dark shape looming ahead. "Iceberg, right ahead," Fleet shouted. The crew sprang into action, attempting to turn the massive ship and reverse engines, but it was too late. The Titanic sideswiped a colossal iceberg, tearing a 300-foot gash along her starboard hull. 5 of her 16 watertight compartments were breached, and water began to pour in at an alarming rate. As the reality of the damage became apparent, panic spread. The crew struggled to organize the evacuation, but there were only 20 lifeboats on board, enough for about half of those aboard, far short of the number needed. Orders were given to women and children first, but the chaos and confusion made the process inconsistent. In first class, social status determined priority. Wealthy passengers boarded lifeboats, clutching handbags and codes. In steerage, families huddled together, unable to break through barriers and gates. Many men remained behind, accepting their fate. Lifeboats were launched half-filled, some with fewer than 30 people, leaving hundreds to face the icy Atlantic waters. The screams of those left on deck echoed into the night. Some clung to debris, others jumped into the freezing sea. The air was thick with smoke from the ship's funnels, mingled with the cries of the dying and the groaning of steel under pressure. Around 2 a.m., as the Titanic's bow sank deeper, the stern began to rise, tilting precariously. Witnesses described the ship twisting and cracking, the steel hull tearing with a deafening roar. At 2:20 a.m., the Titanic broke apart. The bow slipped under the water first, followed by the stern, which floated for a brief moment before vanishing beneath the waves. More than 1,500 people perished that night. Only 710 survived, rescued hours later by the RMS Carpathia. The water temperature was -2 degrees Celsius, 28 degrees Fahrenheit, cold enough to induce hypothermia within minutes. Many who had entered the sea died almost immediately from the freezing cold, their cries silenced by the vast, dark ocean. The world awoke in horror. Newspapers reported the unimaginable scale of the disaster. Families mourned lost loved ones, and survivors recounted tales of heroism, cowardice, and heartbreak. Captain Smith went down with his ship, remembered as a symbol of duty, while crew members like Second Officer Charles Lightoller survived, forever haunted by the events of that night. Investigations were launched in both the United States and the United Kingdom. They revealed a series of human errors, insufficient lifeboats, ignored ice warnings, and overconfidence in the ship's design. These inquiries would reshape maritime law, mandating sufficient lifeboats, 24-hour radio watches, and the creation of the International Ice Patrol. The Titanic disaster is more than a story of a ship sinking. It is a cautionary tale about human hubris, the illusion of invincibility, and the fragile boundary between life and death. The ship rests over 12,000 feet below the ocean surface, a silent grave preserving the remnants of luxury, ambition, and tragedy. Stories of heroism remain etched in memory. Women and children saved, strangers helping one another, musicians who played until the very end to calm passengers. Yet, the haunting image of the bow slicing beneath the waves, taking over 1,500 souls with it, endures in history and culture. Books, films, and documentaries have tried to capture the tragedy, but nothing can truly replicate the terror, chaos, and sorrow of that night. Even today, over a century later, the Titanic whispers from the deep, a reminder that pride can blind us to danger, that human engineering, no matter how grand, is always vulnerable to nature, and that moments of courage and cowardice can define lives in the span of hours. The Titanic was not just a ship. It was a monument to ambition, a floating palace, a testament to early 20th century progress. And in its final hours, it became a stage for human drama at its most raw: fear, sacrifice, and the unimaginable silence of the deep ocean. When we remember the Titanic, we remember not only the lives lost but the fragile nature of human endeavor against forces far greater than ourselves.